Good evening. Jubilees 6 and 7, maybe 8. We'll see how my eyes are doing. And then I'm going to bed tonight. It's only 9:30 and I'm past ready, so I don't know. I'm awfully tired these days. Chapter 6 of Jubilees. And on the new moon of the third month, he went forth from the ark and built an altar on that mountain. And he made atonement for the earth, and took a kid and made atonement by its blood for all the guilt of the earth. For everything that had been on it had been destroyed, save those that were in the ark with Noah. And he placed the fat thereof on the altar, and he took an ox, and a goat, and a sheep, and kids, and salt, and a turtle dove, and the young of a dove, and placed a burnt sacrifice on the altar, and poured thereon an offering mingled with oil, and sprinkled wine, and strewed frankincense over everything, and caused a goodly savor to arise acceptable before the Lord. And the Lord smelt the goodly savor, and he made a covenant with him that there should not be any more a flood to destroy the earth, that all the days of the earth's seed, time and harvest, should never cease. Cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night should not change their order, nor cease forever. And you, increase ye and multiply upon the earth, and become many upon it, and be a blessing upon it. The fear of you and the dread of you I will inspire in everything that is on earth and in the sea. And behold, I have given unto you all beasts and all winged things, and everything that moves on the earth, and the fish in the waters, and all things for food, as the green herbs. I have given you all things to eat. But flesh with the life thereof, with the blood, ye shall not eat, for the life of all flesh is in the blood, lest your blood of your lives be required at the hand of every man, and at the hand of every beast will I require the blood of man. Whoso sheddeth man's blood by man, shall his blood be shed, for in the image of God made he man. And you increase ye and multiply on the earth. And Noah and his sons swore that they would not eat any blood that was in any flesh, and he made a covenant before the Lord God forever throughout all the generations of the earth in this month. On this account he spake to thee that thou shouldst make a covenant with the children of Israel in this month upon the mountain with an oath, and that thou shouldest sprinkle blood upon them because of all the words of the covenant which the Lord made with them forever. And this testimony is written concerning you, that you should observe it continually, so that you should not eat on any day any blood of beasts or birds or cattle during all the days of the earth. And the man who eats the blood of beasts or of cattle or of birds during all the days of the earth, he and his seed shall be rooted out of the land. And do thou command the children of Israel to eat no blood, so that their names and their seed may be before the Lord our God continually. And for this law there is no limit of days, for it is forever. They shall observe it throughout their generations, so that they may continue supplicating on your behalf with blood before the altar. Every day and at the time of the morning and evening they shall seek forgiveness on your behalf perpetually before the Lord, that they may keep it and not be rooted out. And he gave to Noah and his sons a sign that there should not again be a flood on this earth. He set his bow in the cloud for the sign of an eternal covenant, that there should not again be a flood on the earth to destroy it all the days of the earth. For this reason it is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets that they should celebrate the Feast of Weeks in this month once a year, and renew the covenant every year. And this whole festival was celebrated in heaven from the day of creation till the days of Noah. 26 Jubilees in 5 weeks of years, and Noah and his sons observe it for 7 Jubilees and 1 week of years, till the end of Noah's death. And from the day of Noah's death his sons did away with until the days of Abraham, and they eat blood. But, Gizmo, let me do this. But Abraham observed it, and Isaac and Jacob and his children observed it up to the day thy days. And in thy days the children of Israel forgot it until ye celebrated it anew on the mountain. And do thou command the children of Israel to observe this festival in all their generations for a commandment unto them. One day in the year in this month they shall celebrate the festival. For it is the feast of weeks and the feast of first fruits. This feast is twofold and of a double nature, according to what is written and engraven concerning it. Celebrate it. For I have written in the book of the first law, and that which I have written for thee, that thou shouldest celebrate it in its season, one day in the year, and I explained to thee its sacrifice, that the children of Israel should remember and should celebrate it throughout their generations in this month, one day in every year. And on the new moon, and on the new moon of the first month, and on the new moon of the fourth month, and on the new moon of the seventh month, and on the new moon of the 10th month, are the days of remembrance, and the days of the season in the 4 divisions of the year. These are written and ordained as a testimony forever, and Noah ordained them for himself as feasts for the generations forever, so that they have become thereby a memorial unto him. And on the new moon of the first month he was bidden to make himself an ark, and on that day the earth became dry, and he opened the ark and saw the earth. And on the new moon of the 4th month the mouths of the depths of the abyss beneath were closed. And on the new moon of the 7th month all the mouths of the abyss of the earth were open, and the waters began to descend into them. And on the new moon of the 10th month the tops of the mountains were seen, and Noah was glad. And on this account he ordained them for himself as feasts for a memorial forever, and thus they are ordained. And they placed them on the heavenly tablets. Each had 13 weeks from one to another, past their memorial, from the first to the second, and from the second to the third, and from the third to the fourth. And all the days of the commandment will be 52 weeks of days, and these will make the entire year complete. This it is engraven and ordained on the heavenly tablets. And there is no neglecting this commandment for a single year, or from year to year. And command thou the children of Israel that they observe the years according to this reckoning, 364 days, and these will constitute a complete year, and they will not disturb its time from its days and from its feasts, for everything will fall out in them according to their testimony, and they will not leave out any day nor disturb any feast. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment, then they will disturb all their seasons, and the years will be dislodged from this order. And they will disturb the seasons, and the years will be dislodged, and they will neglect their ordinance. And all the children of Israel will forget, and will not find the path of the years, and will forget the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths, and will go wrong as to all the order of the years. For I know, and from henceforth will I declare it unto thee, and it is not of my own devising, for the book lies written before me, and on the heavenly tablets the division of days is ordained, lest they forget the feast of the covenant, and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles after their error and after their ignorance. For there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year 10 days too often. For this reason the years will come upon them when they will disturb the order, and make an abominable day, the day of testimony, and an unclean day, a feast day, and they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean, and the unclean day with the holy. For they will go wrong as to the months and Sabbaths and feasts and Jubilees. For this reason I command and testify to thee, that thou mayst testify to them, for after thy death thy children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only, and for this reason they will go wrong as to the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths and festivals, and they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh. Gizmo. Alright, Jubilees 7. And in the 7th week, in the first year thereof, in the Jubilee, Noah planted vines on the mountain of which the ark had rested, named Lubar, one of the Ararat mountains, and they produced fruit in the 4th year. And he guarded their fruit, and gathered it in this year in the 7th month. And he made wine therefrom, and put it into a vessel, and kept it until the 5th year, until the 1st day of the new moon of the 1st month. And he celebrated with joy the day of this feast, and he made a burnt sacrifice unto the Lord, 1 young ox and 1 ram, and 7 sheep, each a year old, and a kid of the goats, that he might make atonement thereby for himself and sons. And he prepared the kid first, and placed some of its blood on the flesh that was on the altar which he had made, and all the fat he laid on the altar where he made the burnt sacrifice, and the ox and the ram and the sheep, and he laid all their flesh upon the altar. And he placed all their offerings mingled with oil upon it, and afterwards he sprinkled wine on the fire with which he had previously made on the altar, and he placed incense on the altar, and caused a sweet savor to ascend, acceptable before the Lord his God. And he rejoiced and drank of this wine, he and his children, with joy. And it was evening, and he went into his tent, and being drunken he lay down and slept, and was uncovered in his tent as he slept. And Ham saw Noah his father naked, and went forth and told his 2 brethren without. Excuse me. And Shem took his garment, and arose, he and Japheth, and they placed the garment on their shoulders, and went backward, and covered the shame of their father, and their faces were backward. And Noah woke from his sleep, and knew all that his younger sons had done unto him, and he cursed his son, and said, Cursed be Canaan, and enslaved servant shall he be until his brethren. And he blessed Shem, and said, Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. God shall enlarge Japheth, and God shall dwell in the dwelling of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. And Ham knew that his father had cursed his younger son, and he was displeased that he had cursed his son. And he parted from his father, he and his sons with him, Cush and Mizraim and Put and Canaan. And he built for himself a city, and called its name after the name of his wife, Nelatemeuk. And Japheth saw it, and became envious of his brother. And he too built for himself a city, and he called its name after the name of his wife, Adotanesis. I'm terrible with these names. And Shem dwelt with his father Noah, and he built the city close to his father on the mountain. And he too called its name after the name of his wife, Sedekuk-Teliabib. And behold, these 3 cities are near Mount Lubar, Sudapquatalibiab, fronting the mountain on its east, and Nelatumulek on the south, Adotanesius towards the west. And these are the sons of Shem, Elam, and Assur, and Arpachshad. This son was born 2 years after the flood, and Lud and Aram. The sons of Japheth, Gomer and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Tiras. These are the sons of Noah. And in the 28th Jubilee, Noah began to enjoin upon his sons the ordinances and commandments, and all the judgments that he knew. And he exhorted his sons to observe righteousness, and to cover the shame of their flesh, and to bless their Creator, and honor father and mother, and love their neighbor, and guard their souls from fornication and uncleanliness, and all iniquity. For owing to these three things came the flood upon the earth, namely, owing to the fornication wherein the watchers against the law of their ordinances went a whoring after the daughters of men, and took themselves wives of all which they chose, and they made the beginning of uncleanness. And they begat sons, the Nephilim, and they were all unlike, and they devoured one another, and the giants slew the Nephil, and the Nephil slew the Eljo, and the Eljo mankind, and one man another. And everyone sold himself to work iniquity, and to shed much blood, and the earth was filled with iniquity. And after this they sinned against the beast and birds, and all that moves and walks on the earth. And much blood was shed on the earth, and every imagination and desire of men imagined vanity and evil continually. And the Lord destroyed everything from off the face of the earth because of the wickedness of their deeds. And because of the blood which they had shed in the midst of the earth, he destroyed everything. And we were left, I and you, my sons, and everything that entered with us into the ark. And behold, I see your works before me, that ye do not walk in righteousness. For in the path of destruction ye have begun to walk, and ye are parting one from another, and are envious one of another. And so it comes that ye are not in harmony, my sons, each with his brother. For I see and behold the demons have begun their seductions against you and against your children, and now I fear on your behalf, that after my death ye will shed the blood of men upon the earth, and that ye too will be destroyed from the face of the earth. For whoso sheddeth man's blood, and whoso eateth the blood of any flesh, shall all be destroyed from the earth. And there shall not be left any man that eateth blood, or that sheddeth the blood of man on the earth, nor shall there be left to him any seed or descendants living under heaven. For into Sheol shall they go, and into the place of condemnation shall they descend, and into the darkness of the deep shall they all be removed by a violent death. There shall be no blood seen upon you. Of all the blood there shall be all the days in which ye have killed any beast or cattle, or whatever flies upon the earth, and work ye a good work to your souls by covering that which has been shed on the face of the earth. And ye shall not be like him who eats with blood, but guard yourselves that none may eat blood before you. Cover the blood, for thus have I been commanded, to testify to you and your children together with all flesh. And suffer not the soul to be eaten with the flesh, that your blood, which is your life, may not be required at the hand of any flesh that sheds it on the earth. For the earth will not be clean from the blood which has been shed upon it, for only through the blood of him that shed it will the earth be purified throughout all its generations. And now, my children, hearken, work judgment and righteousness, that ye may be planted in righteousness over the face of the whole earth, and your glory lifted up before my God, who saved from the waters of the flood, who saved me from the waters of the flood. And behold, ye will go and build for yourselves cities, and plant in them all the plants that are upon the earth, and moreover all fruit-bearing trees. For 3 years the fruit of everything that is eaten will not be gathered, and in the 4th year its fruit will be accounted holy, and they will offer the first fruits acceptable before the Most High God, who created heaven and earth, and all things. Let them offer in abundance the first of the wine and oil, as first fruits on the altar of the Lord, who receives it, and what is left let the servants of the house of the Lord eat before the altar which receives it. And in the 5th year make ye the release, so that ye release it in righteousness and uprightness, and ye shall be righteous, and all that you plant shall prosper. For thus did Enoch the father of your father command Methuselah his son, and Methuselah his son Lamech. And Lamech commanded me all the things which his fathers commanded him. And I also will give you commandment, my sons, as Enoch commanded his son in his first Jubilees. While still living, the seventh in his generation, he commanded and testified to his son and to his son's sons until the day of his death. Alright, that's it for now. I'm tired. Chapter 7. If I could do that every day, at least get 7 or 8 chapters a day, that would be great. We would get Jubilees done in a week that way, or under a week probably. But alright, have a good night. Thank you for watching and listening.